Next thing is looking at your culture, right? What is the culture? I took the church through this book called Cracking Your Church's Culture Code. And the reason I did that is because sometimes, at least in our context, probably in a lot of churches, but in the Baptist church context, sometimes the expectation is that we are in this wilderness period. We're bringing in, we voted in the pastor, right? So there's some hopes that we have that this pastor has what it takes to bring us out of the wilderness. But the perspective places all of the onus upon the superstar pastor, and it does not take into account our responsibility as parishioners and as a church to have a culture where the vision can actually live and breathe, right? So I wanted us to assess what is the culture of our church right now. So that book, Cracking Your Church's Culture Code, I think I did it during the Bible study, Cracking Your Church's Culture Code, and it was great because it really started asking probative questions to the congregation about what is our culture, why is our culture this, and then what are the things that we need to change in our culture
Mhm. Yeah.
so that when this new vision is given, this new vision actually has a chance to take off. Right? Because culture is like the oxygen, it can kill it, right? And so we started talking through some of those things as well, right? So looking at the vision of God's church, looking at our culture, right? The next thing I would say is you have to make sure that you are with the people, right? You have to make sure you're with the people. I have an itinerant speaking ministry, but that first year, you have to make sure that you're here, you're present, and even beyond. I say first year, but for me, it was first year. But you got to make sure that you're here and present.
Mhm.
Being with people, it's the speed of trust. If people trust you, they'll follow the vision if they don't trust you. But you have to build that trust. Just because you are called the pastor doesn't mean you actually have become the pastor, right? There's a
That's
difference.
something you say that one more time because I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. The
Yes. Just because you have the title and you are called pastor does not mean you have actually become the pastor experientially, where people say, this person has a shepherd's heart. I trust them as my shepherd, and I'm willing to follow them as a shepherd of this congregation. And that takes time. That takes being with people. That takes having conversations. And the other thing it takes is you have to go through some storms, right? You have to go through some storms, and people have to see how you handle those moments, right? That builds the trust as well. And so it's going through storms are difficult. They are obstacles, but they are also opportunities. So we had some bumpy experiences initially within my first 3 years here. There were some bumpy moments, right? Um, but just like Moses, right? The Bible says the people of Israel were baptized, not into God, but they were baptized into Moses through the crossing of the Red Sea, right? You're going to have some Red Sea moments that are difficult. People will follow your leadership and trust your leadership more as they see you handle those moments in a godly way. So there were some moments where my character, as far as how I was going to respond to toxicity, was tested. And if I had responded to the toxicity in what I'll say just basically a sinful way, in a fleshly and carnal way, that would not have encouraged the trust that was needed for them to follow my leadership. So there were times where you have to pray. I had to pray, Lord, give me the ability to respond to this in a Christian way or a godly way, Christ-like way. Um, Even though in my flesh, I want to respond differently. Right. And that's not easy. So there are some, the young people use the term, you took an L or something like that. Well, sometimes you have to, right?
Yeah,
um,
strategically, you take the L.
you have to, right? In order to demonstrate to people, here is what a Christ-like response is. Here's what Christ-like interaction is. And you still, though, are directing them towards God's vision for the church. And so that helped tremendously. I had to. There were a lot of moments and some bumpy moments early on, but people would come to me after I handled a certain thing, and sometimes they're quiet publicly, but then they'll come and say, "I really appreciate how you handled that." Right, and it may not seem like much, but it is very significant for your leadership later on.